Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. Today's episode is something a little bit special. Not only is it the conclusion of our little Ensign Games mini arc, that's been kind of a sort of 100 episodes celebration for us, it's also the episode of the podcast with by far and away the most people on it. We're lucky enough to be joined this episode by some amazing guest stars, many of whom have been on the show before in one way or another. And we're super pleased to have them with us. So, in no particular order, a huge thanks for joining us to Adam of Snyder's Return, Fiona of What Am I Rolling and the DM's Book Club, Matt and Liam of Spocklight, Radi Nikolov, Cassie of the Lovelycraftians, Jordan of Modified Roll, Nikoli and Meow of Penance RPG, Ollie Munster, and finally my mum. I think with that long list of people who've been amazing to join us, I think we've kept you all waiting long enough. So let's get into the episode. Enjoy. So, all smiled then as the words "session complete" are hanging in the air above your heads, and the five of you turn to head for the now visible exit of Deep Space Three's Holodeck 1. As the doors slide open, you can see waiting to greet you as you leave is Captain Collins. He's also all smiles. He sort of rushes forward and shakes each of you by the hand. Great job, everyone. Great job.
Oh, thank you, sir.
How do you reckon you got on?
Well, I don't want to blow our trumpet too much, and Johnny looks around at the rest of the group, but I think we did pretty well. Well, I suppose you can't say too much, but what do you think, Captain?
Well, personally, I think you handled yourselves pretty well. Had a couple of hiccups, but you dealt with them, and you worked well as a team together, and had some difficult decisions to make, but you got out everybody you could at the end, so I'm happy with how you did. I'm proud of you all.
Well, thank you, Captain.
You're welcome. Now, if you don't mind me saying, you all look like you're in need of some refreshments and a well-deserved rest. There's an observation lounge set up down the corridor specifically for those involved in the competition. Head on down there, put your feet up for a bit. I'm sure you're curious to watch how the other teams do as well, so that'll be the place to see it. Just as he says this, you do see the team of ensigns from the USS Nelson stepping out of a doorway of what is clearly a crew lounge just down the corridor, as he said. They look like they're sort of psyching themselves up. A couple of them are sort of doing stretches, They don't know quite what they're walking into. That you were all told at the start of this that it's going to be 3 different challenges. So I think they've seen what you guys came up against, and they're trying to sort of get ready for anything, really. They don't really make eye contact too much as they pass you heading into the holodeck, but Captain Richards is there with them. You can see sort of giving them some last minute sort of words of encouragement, a little bit of a last minute pep talk as her and the group of ensigns from her ship pass you all. She gives Collins a nod and a quick nod to all of you as they head towards the entranceway to the holodeck. What's the thinking? You heading to Shimoda's? You heading to this lounge?
Well, I know we'd said Shimoda's, but I'm thinking that Johnny, having had it pointed out that the lounge is there, would probably turn to the rest of them and say, well, I know we were going to have that drink and everything, but, well, I guess we should probably find out what the competition's like. Shall we go in and check out the lounge?
Aye, sounds good to me.
Yeah, why not?
A grand idea.
Well, I guess, we'll see you at the end of the competition, Captain. And Johnny gives a nod and kind of leads the way off into the lounge.
Okay, so you step inside and find yourself in a room, actually pretty much about similar sort of size to 10 forward. A little bit of a different setup in here. All the walls are sort of covered with viewing screens, and there's less tables, more sofas. You do spot in a kind of horseshoe sofa setup the team of ensigns from the USS Auckland, your friend Katrina among them. They don't really react as you come in. They're sort of deep in conversation. They're not like ignoring you. They're just kind of, you get the feeling this is like a tactics talk going on, that and everything. As I said, the screens kind of all around the walls. This lounge is part of the holographic center, and as this, the whole facility is used for a lot of training sessions and such, it's got this sort of specially designed kind of lounge so that people can observe what's going on. If it's an official Starfleet session, there's not. If people are having a private session, it's not being broadcast here. You didn't have a bunch of people watching when you accidentally shot Bonge's snacks the other day, but
probably a good thing.
Yeah. But there's plenty of seating. There's a replicator bank along the wall. There doesn't look like there's no like servers in here or anything. This isn't like fully staffed up like the bar is at 10 forward, but it's kind of a serve yourself area. But yeah, it's fairly comfortable in here, well appointed. And as I say, there's screens all around which are currently showing sort of what looks to be sort of clips, edited clips from your run. I don't know. Do you watch that as you?
Well, Johnny definitely admires. Well, not admires. Well, maybe a little bit. The whole group. And just the way we performed, because he's still got a little bit of he took charge with the training session. It didn't go well, but the actual event seemed to go all right. So
yeah,
certainly be looking on and trying to gauge would other people think that this went well? Was it just us in the moment?
I mean, it's tough to tell. I mean, you've pretty much just stepped through the door. As I said, there's not a huge number of people in here. There's the team from the Auckland who seem, fairly focused on just talking to each other, their kind of tactics talk. Other than that, there's kind of I guess there's a few officers in here. You don't... Oh, that's a point, though, actually. I think maybe you would recognise some people from the Tenzing.
Oh, no.
No, maybe I don't do that.
Try yourself.
You want us to jump between both characters?
I mean, yeah, kind of. Well, and here's the thing. Picture to me, would you, while this is going on, do you think Murphy and Darila and, I guess, Ray's still in sickbay?
Yeah, I'm still in sickbay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you can't watch it leisurely.
Yeah, you can watch it from sickbay. You've got a private isolation room in sickbay, so you could be watching it.
True.
Yeah. My question really, though, is would the other two be there, I guess?
I think Darila probably would be in the lounge if it was an option.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Murphy would be the same.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to talk to yourselves if you don't want to.
No.
Before we jump back in, I will say I'm fully expecting this to be the Mrs. Doubtfire of scenes. So.
I'm going to say Ray is probably not watching this.
Not watching at all? Okay, fair enough.
Too much else going on in his head, and he's probably been sedated, because last we saw him, he was flitting between remembering who he is now and who he used to be. So... would make more sense for Ray to probably watch it off scene later once he's recovered.
Fair enough. We can say that Ray is not involved in this whatsoever. Yeah. Okay. So to reset the scene then, with that in mind. Yeah, looking around as you step in, as I say, there's not a huge number of people in here. There's you can see there's the team from the Auckland are there having their sort of tactics talk with each other. There's a few more senior officers as you look. Some that you don't recognise, they must be from the other ships. But you do see a couple of the department heads who picked you all for this assignment. You can see Lieutenant Commander Murphy and Arila are off to... where would they be, I guess? It's because there's not really a bar. I guess sort of sat on sofas, I suppose, watching the thing.
Sat on sofas, but I imagine not that close to anyone else.
No. I mean, as I said, it's a lounge that's about the size of 10 Forward, but it's in no way as busy as 10 Forward gets, even in times that you've been in there before, Arela. So I'd say that this is a little bit easier on your empathic powers than 10 Forward is sometimes. Who else? Commander Carter's here. The captains aren't here, but you would guess they're sort of off elsewhere. You already know Collins and Richards are out in the corridor, so you don't see Captain Karata of the Auckland anywhere. He seems to be, he could, who knows where he is at the moment.
He's in the toilet.
Yeah, he's. So what would you like to be doing?
Well, spying the senior officers, the ones that had kind of put them up to the test as they're walking along. Johnny turns to the rest and says, we should probably check in and see what they think. And he motions towards the commanding officers.
Aye, all right. Sounds fine to me. Not that my boss is there, so maybe it shouldn't be up to me.
Oh, yeah, you're probably pretty lucky on that front. I guess we did all right, but Murphy's got some pretty high standards.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, I think I hinted at some of the stuff I've had to do when she's not been happy with my performance, so here's hoping that this was, up to spec.
Bond did say she threatened you with cleaning the plasma coils?
Yeah, spend a lot of time on my hands and knees crawling around in ducts, unfortunately.
Oh, that's right, you did say that. Ooh, she sounds like a real nightmare.
Oh, we should probably go over and at least give them an acknowledgement. Here goes nothing.
I feel Murphy's just like, I'm really nice. I'm just, I'm not.
Johnny's going around being like, oh, my boss, what a hard ass. She's really just like, she puts me like nose to the grindstone all the time. I can't get away with shit. And Murphy's just like, fine, like nobody else has a problem with Murphy or anything. like you say, Murphy's fairly nice boss. She's just snapping at Johnny for his stupid shit. Like, I don't know. That's exactly like you say. That's my impression of it.
Well, let's see how this goes.
Sorry, editorializing a bit there, but yeah. Commander Carter stands up as the group of you approach. Here they come, the conquering heroes. Good job, everybody.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good job on those repairs for you. Quick thinking.
Yeah. Engines are my thing. I love my job, sir.
Yeah, good to hear it. See, that time we spent putting you in on the runabout rotation paid off.
Yes, sir. I do like the smaller ships, sir.
Yeah, well, keep that in mind.
So Arela smiles at Ensign Haru. You did well.
Thank you, Doctor. I haven't had much triage experience, so it was good to be sort of thrown in the deep end, I think.
Well, you handled it very well.
Thank you.
You did too, Conart.
Oh, thank you, sir.
There's a few things I've picked up on with this exercise. Good few things. You did well.
Johnny kind of swells with pride a little bit and gives a little nod of acknowledgement.
I can kind of imagine the rest of the ensigns are just kind of looking at each other going, well, one, that was nicer than the impression we got, but two, what little things? Just like confused and slightly suspicious on Johnny's behalf.
Murphy's like leaned back and on one of the couches, and she's just like, yeah. She's just thinking that she needs to talk. Well, she already thought that she needed to talk to Ensign Sota about like assigning him a minion, and now this kind of just cements it a bit.
Yeah.
Well, not so much a minion, but a responsibility.
Well, Sota had already given Johnny the responsibility of coming up with the shift rotation for security on the airlock while you're docked. But I don't know if she maybe didn't run that by Murphy, because that's kind of just like she gave Johnny an admin job to do.
Yeah, because that's part of the job he kind of needs to understand as well.
Yeah,
it's just as important as like the two phasers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are your plans now? Are you here to check on the competition, or are you guys just going to sit back and relax?
Well, I'm definitely interested in whatever's going to happen with the other teams. I mean, those guys look pretty determined. And he looks over towards the other team and gestures.
Murphy's just going to smile slightly. Like, no, everybody's going to get the same mission you guys got. Just remember, it's all about seeing how you react to the unexpected.
Well, it was an interesting test. But yeah, I'm glad we came out all right. Things can, I feel, in this scene maybe be awkward in the way where Johnny said that and he can just hang in the air for a moment.
For a little bit, like, there's all these ensigns who are looking at senior officers and going, I don't want to say too much.
And they're all like slightly freaked out as well, because Murphy's like being nice, she's smiling. She's having, it's creepy, and Johnny's like painted this picture that she's like some witch, and then she's like going, no, I'm not, and they're like, not sure if she's if she wants to kill us, or like or Johnny's just a liar.
I mean, I don't think I don't know. I don't think he's really said she's like a, super.
No, I suppose.
Yeah, it's more just like, but he has made a couple of comments about, oh yeah, my boss is. She expects a lot and stuff, I think. Yeah.
The taskmaster.
Yeah. Okay, so the screens sort of all around the room, which, as I said, have been playing a kind of like edited highlight reel of your own run, at this point switch to a view of two officers sat behind a desk who seem to be chatting about how you got on. The volume's still down a little bit at this point. You would infer from this, though, that there was perhaps some kind of commentary running over your simulation as you were doing it. I mean, you don't recognise either of the two of them as a human and a Bolian. You would guess that they're also part of the station crew, though. The human touches his ear and looks directly at the camera.
Okay, we're getting word now that the team from the USS Nelson are just about ready for their run. Let's cross back to holodeck 1.
The view shifts to the inside of the holodeck, and you can see the team from the Nelson, who you just passed in the corridor, standing in the familiar empty grid. They still kind of look like they're sort of psyching themselves up, and the virtual camera switches between each member of the team in turn, and sort of sports-style side graphic fades in each time, giving like a few details about each competitor. Nothing too invasive or anything, just like kind of few facts like where they're from, how long they've been in Starfleet, their specializations and whatnot. The commentators actually, they pass a few brief comments on each competitor as they're shown also, which you can hear now. The volume has come up slightly.
Here we see Ensign Yoitz, the engineer for this team. Graduated Starfleet Academy just last year on their first posting aboard the Nelson.
A little tidbit about Yoitz, Ted. Their great uncle was none other than Admiral Hal Yoitz, who commanded the 7th Fleet back in the 2330s.
Interesting family connection there.
It's around this point maybe that you kind of get your first sort of proper idea of how your own one was being shown to everybody, as you were doing it. You can't really help but wonder what the commentators had to say about each of you, but I mean, perhaps you'll never know. So, are you grabbing drinks, getting seats? I mean, also, you don't have to stay in here if you don't want to. I mean, it's totally in your hands.
Well, Johnny will kind of say to the commanding officers, oh, well, it looks like it's getting started. We'll leave you to it, I guess. And he awkwardly kind of starts moving away.
We'll all just shuffle along. Just nod and smile and shuffle along.
Once we're a few steps away, Johnny turns to the rest and says, well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm going to grab a drink and grab a seat. You guys sticking around?
Yeah, I want to see how this lot do.
Make for some good light entertainment.
I think I'll join you with that drink, yeah.
Oh, great. And Johnny leads the way, and we can all, I suppose, we don't need to like figure out what we're drinking and
no,
everything.
I don't think we need to go through yet another episode of what are people eating?
Yeah, there's enough of that.
It's like 5 to 10% of this show is people ordering food. Like,
it's important.
It is important.
I mean, I think this exercise is definitely going to bring the crew of each individual ship together.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much it's going to do between ships.
Well, we didn't meet the other competition anyway, so we're doing it blind. So we're not. It's not really. There's not that animosity that like that sportsman amino. You know what?
We don't know who's come from which ship, do we?
Well, I mean, no, I mean the teams aren't mixed. I mean, this is you guys were all from the Tenzing. The one that's about to do their run is all from the Nelson. I think I'd probably safe to say that you, as a group, you don't know any of the other competitors other than Johnny's friend Katrina from the Auckland.
Yeah,
it's less of sort of like it's not like. It's less of like you guys are competing in like a rate, like if it was like 100 meters or whatever, you're directly competing. It's more that I guess more like a kind of gymnastics routine or something where you've each got kind of it's judged as to like, okay, here's how many points you think we should get for this, but you're not directly trying to do one move better than the other people sort of thing. You're making your attempt, and they're making their attempt, and at the end of it, you find out who the judges think gave the best performance, rather than like trying to be the first over the line. I suppose is the how it is. Yeah. What you do isn't affecting what the other teams are doing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah, okay. You guys are all able to grab yourselves some refreshments and claim your own horseshoe-shaped sofa arrangement. Quite comfortable, I might add. Just in time for Team Nelson's run to begin. As you watch, the holodeck grid pattern fades away around them, and they find themselves in an airlock chamber. Looks to be a Federation construction. It looks an awful lot like the one on the Tenzing. A little different from your own start, though. Yours started in a hangar bay. Theirs is in an airlock chamber. You can hear their team's reactions quite clearly, though.
An airlock? We going for a spacewalk, you reckon?
Oh, I hope not. I haven't done one since the academy, and it didn't go well.
There's 5 EV suits here. Maybe we ought to sit up just in case.
Better safe than sorry, to be sure.
There seems to be sort of general agreement to this, and the team are just about done pulling on their EV suits when a wall panel activates, showing the same Kelpian commander who gave you all your own instructions on your run.
Away team, are you ready? Docking will occur in 30 seconds.
Yes, sir. Well, I think we find it helpful if you could summarize our situation and immediate objectives.
Of course. The ship with which we are docking is on an uncontrolled collision course with the Federation colony of Perlar 2. It is of a configuration unknown to us, and as far as our sensors can tell, has no life forms aboard and is running on minimal power. If its course is not changed, there is potential for severe loss of life in the colony. We will be withdrawing to conduct an evacuation while your team attempts to divert the vessel.
If I might ask, sir, why docking? Why not simply transport us aboard? Why not divert the ship with tractor beams, for that matter?
You do just catch a couple of little sidelong glances at the Vulcan science ensign who's made this comment from the rest of their team, but they don't say anything.
In answer to both of your questions, Ensign, on its path through the system, the ship passed through a charged particle field, which has rendered our transporters ineffective and is also interfering with our tractor beams. It will be several hours before the charge dissipates, too late for the colony. Placing your team aboard is the only way to possibly change its course.
Ah, yes, sir.
There's a thunk and a shudder as docking occurs.
Get aboard as quickly as you can. We must see to the evacuation.
At that, the team put on their helmets, the airlock cycles, and they step onto the unknown vessel and into the, I guess, main section of their run. I will say at this point, the commentators aren't like overbearing at all. They're putting in an odd kind of comment for context and things and that, but it's not overbearing at all in any way.
It's not a horse racing commentary.
No, not fully. It's more just like providing a little bit of kind of context and like, oh, I wasn't expecting that kind of talk now and then sort of thing. The other thing at this point that you realise is that as viewers, you actually are getting a little more context of the situation than the Nelson team do, and you would guess it was probably a similar setup during your own run. You're getting establishing shots and contextual views and things you wouldn't get otherwise if you were in the holodeck yourself. It's kind of like you're watching a live film, if that makes sense. So yeah, as the team from the Nelson steps through their airlock, you get an exterior view showing what looks like maybe the same virtual Galaxy class that you launched from, docked to a kind of dark-coloured, bulbous, irregularly shaped hulk of a ship. It's much bigger than the Galaxy class, which explains the need for an evacuation if it can't be stopped. And true to the briefing, there are very few lights visible along it. It looks to be basically unpowered. Okay, so in practical terms, the way that we're going to do this, so that this episode isn't just me telling you guys a really long story while you sit there and listen, is that we're kind of going to be just sort of touching on key decisions, key moments, highlight reel, if you will, of their run, and later the Aucklands, and I'm going to be rolling some dice, doing some checks to see how they fare. It's going to be a little bit kind of ad hoc, but yeah, I think that's the way we're going to do this. So, given what you've watched so far on the screens, any thoughts from you guys?
I think Johnny's pretty wrapped in just trying to take it all in and gauge how successful they are.
Yeah. Okay.
Freya's thinking of all the mechanical things that they can do about the airlock. Like, what could go wrong?
I kind of hope they have to come up against some kind of big beast. Nasty alien that knows their every move. I quite like to see that.
Or a pathogen. Something invisible.
Unseen enemy, I like it.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Okay, so I'll be as brief as possible with this, but we'll probably, like I say, touch on a few key moments here and there. So, initially, they stick together as a group to just sort of scope out the ship. They quite quickly ascertain that the ship's power is down. With a thought, the first thought is, well, if we can get it going, we can maybe slow the thing down. I'm going to do an engineering roll to see how feasible they find that, or whether this is something that they're able to kind of begin to put in motion. Okay, well, I rolled a 4 and a 7. So I think on anyone, I haven't got a character sheet for these characters, but on anyone's count, that would be 2 successes.
The interface and construction might be unfamiliar, but I know a main power conduit when I see one. We can follow this to engineer, and we should be able to get some of it back online.
We're up against the clock here. You sure?
Well, we're not going to do a lot without working engines, are we?
Alright, I tell you what, let's split up. Yoitz, you, Hector, and Vora go and look for engineering. Dios and I will try and find the bridge. Stay in contact.
So yeah, the Nelson team split in two. The security and con officers looking for wherever the bridge might be, with the rest of the team, the engineer, the scientist, and the doctor, looking for engineering. I would say, now you're getting some better looks at the interior of this vessel. It's definitely sort of showing its age. The vibe that you're getting is it's not like fully run down, but there's like rusted hull panels and just the general vibe that this thing has been sort of maybe careening through space unattended for quite some time. It's not in great shape, this ship. Any preference on which team we follow first?
Johnny's paying attention to security all the way.
Yeah? Okay. So, the duo of Mitchell, the security officer, and Diors, the con officer, start making their way forward to where, logically, but maybe not correctly, we'll find out, they think the ship's control center or bridge might be located. It's slow going. The ship is, as I said, rather large, and they're having to break through closed hatchways, pick their way along narrow passages and along some precarious walkways, all in semi-darkness and in the slightly awkward bulk of their EV suits. I'm going to make a roll to see if the security officer notices something. Well, I rolled a 15 and a 19, so that is only... I'm going to use Johnny's stats for the security officer. I don't even care. It's a convenient way of doing it.
Why not?
You guys have been picked as the best. I feel like there's the possibility that you've got similar sort of skills. So yeah, the security officer does not see that they have tripped an IR beam running across one of the corridors, and you don't know what that's going to mean yet.
Johnny, he gives a sharp intake of breath, and he's like, "Oh, I wouldn't have done that."
Why? Well, what do you mean? What have you noticed?
Oh, there was a beam. They walked through something. Some kind of security has probably been tripped on this ship now. Who knows what's going to happen?
Laser beams. Cut them to pieces. I mean, obviously not really, because it's only a simulation, but... Come on, laser beams. Slice them into pieces, come on. Where's my cider?
You're seeming a bit more bloodthirsty than you did before.
Because I haven't had enough cider yet. I'll become more docile with more ciders in me, so keep them coming, Johnny boy.
Oh, yeah, I'll go and get some more drinks.
You guys getting drunk while you're watching this? Is that the idea?
I'm Imagining that Freya is like gotten somehow popcorn and is like sharing it around.
It's not even somehow. There's replicators in here. You can get popcorn.
Oh yeah,
no trouble.
We're getting popcorn. Yeah. We're getting popcorn. It's like, come on, let's get popcorn.
Sounds good to me.
Meanwhile, at the other end of the sofa, there's Cation just downing ciders and just to keep his bloodthirstiness in check.
Meanwhile, Murphy and Arela are looking over like, what is going on over there? Is that popcorn?
Carter's like, well, I wouldn't say no to some popcorn myself, actually. Anybody want any? I'm going to the replicator.
Murphy's just like hesitating, and then it's like just before he leaves, it's gonna be like, no, yeah, bring me some.
Okay. I mean, he's not leaving. It's like just on one wall. So he goes and goes, 2 small popcorns, please. 1 salted, 1. What do you want on your popcorn? Murphy's shouting over the
Sweet.
Alrighty. 2 small popcorns, 1 salted, 1 sweet. Yeah, he returns with 2 popcorns, hands you small. It's the classic cinema paper bag kind of thing. Nothing for you, Doctor?
Oh no, I'm fine, thank you.
His attention returns to the screen. So it is now showing the other half of the Nelsons team, who are again they're picking their way towards where they think engineering is. Okay, so that is a critical success on that. I rolled a 1 and a 7. T. Nelson's scientist, the Vulcan Ensign Vora, holds up a hand to stop the other 2 as they prepare to force their way through a set of closed double doors.
Wait, my tricorder indicates there's been a chemical leak on the other side of the bulkhead. The adjoining chamber is full of corrosive gas, which our environmental suits would not withstand. We should find another route.
So, some quick thinking has saved them from some environmental hazards, but it has the unintended effect of costing them some time as they have to backtrack and find their way around. But yeah.
Crisis averted.
Oh, blast it. I was really hoping for the lasers.
Well, there's still time for lasers. You never know.
No, I feel like the moment's passed. Now I'm hoping for a bulkhead explosion.
So, a little more time passes, and the 2-person team finds their way to the ship's bridge. There is a wide panoramic forward view through a curved viewport which takes up much of one wall. The Federation colony world is beginning to grow pretty large in that view. They're not about to crash in the next 5 minutes or anything, but you're definitely getting the feeling time is beginning to run a little short for them. As they're taking in this view, the camera, or the virtual camera, I should say, cuts away from them, showing you once again the IR beam that was previously broken, before winding its way through several bulkheads and along wires, and in ways that a regular camera wouldn't be able to do, until it finally settles on a pod, which, with a hiss of steam, begins to open slowly.
Ooh.
Yeah. Cutscenes.
A bit ominous.
Yeah. The final thing you see before the camera cuts away again is a tall, bulky figure, all in shadow, stepping from the pod. The group of 3 make their way finally to engineering about this time as well. Without knowing the controls, you would say this place, like the rest of the ship, looks pretty run down. There's clearly nothing really powered on. What I'm going to do, I think, is a group check to see, as a group, as the 3 of them, can they make sense of it in here, really? As I say, it's all completely unknown. It's non-Federation type, it's non-Klingon type, so just to see if they can kind of figure it all out. That was a critical failure there. We're at a 14 and a 20. So they are having a lot of trouble in getting things under control here in engineering at this point.
Can Faria roll a check to see if she can understand the problem, or...
Sure, yeah, totally. Can I get a... I guess this would be Reason Engineering, difficulty 2 from you. 11 and a 9? Yeah, that's your 2 successes. Yeah, you can, if not decipher the full sort of layout, you're able to kind of... I guess with it... maybe helps along a little bit by the fact that you're just sort of you're watching it as an outsider's point of view. You're not kind of, you haven't got the stress of being in an environment suit and such. Maybe it's sort of you're able to kind of get maybe a slightly calmer look at it. You can't understand why they haven't realized where the starter button is, basically.
She's probably like looking at it with a face and like, huh?
Like, it's not obvious, but like from your point of view, like, you're like, okay, well, this logically makes sense that they should do a couple of things. You're able to sort of, from an outsider's perspective, go, well, there's an order of operations here which makes sense to your kind of engineering brain, if that makes sense. Yeah, and but they have not clocked it. Carter sort of catches your eye at this point. It's from across the room. He doesn't sort of say anything, but he sort of he sort of, I think he's kind of not like watching you, but it sort of sees you kind of like kind of looking at it and putting 2 and 2 together and looking like, okay, would it be safe to say that when you figure it out, you get a kind of like, I could do that kind of. Yeah. She'd
probably click her fingers or something, or fiddle with her hands, because I always imagined like engineers and that they're tinkerers, really. So they're always like fiddling with stuff. So I can imagine that she's got like a little tick thing that she does.
Yeah. So yeah, as you kind of, as you figure it out, you sort of, you, like you say, click your fingers or whatever, and you look around, you just catch Carter kind of just looking at you with a little bit of a smile on his face, like, yeah, see, you get the idea. He's kind of figured it as well. And it's kind of, it's not like a smirk or anything. He's just kind of, it's sort of like a smile of like, yeah, we would have rocked this sort of thing. Yeah. They eventually seem to figure out some of it, but whereas you'd be able to, I think a way of saying this would be to say that they spend way too long trying to get power back on. They don't fail at it. It just, whereas you might have taken a minute or so, just looked at things and gone, okay, I think we can do this, and getting up and running, they take the best part of 15 minutes trying to figure out how to get this reactor going. In which time they get a call from the bridge team.
Any time now with that power, guys.
You want to come down here and fix it yourself?
I think, Mitchell, what my Tellarite friend here is saying, it's a patience, it's a virtue.
Try telling that to the planet outside the window. It's getting bigger by the second. We need those engines now.
Now, you guys obviously don't know these particular ensigns personally, but or what their interpersonal relationships are like, but it'd be fair to say you're picking up on a little bit of snippiness going back and forth here. And I don't need to ask an insight check on this. You guys, as a team, think you all get, like, even without knowing the exact details about what they're sort of looking at on screen and things, you all get the kind of feeling of like, oh, well, we maybe come across as a little bit better teamwork-wise than these did. Maybe this team is in the stress of like taking so long to get the engine going, have maybe forgotten that they're being broadcast. And I know that wasn't like yeah. I know that wasn't forefront in all your minds during your own test, but they've kind of there's some frustration showing, and they've forgotten that everyone can see that they're a bit frustrated and are maybe snipping at each other a little bit. So you can't imagine that's going to go well. That's going to help their score, I would say.
Oh.
Yeah. Around this time, the doorway to the bridge slides open. And with a thump of footsteps, a large armoured warrior steps onto the bridge.
Ooh.
This is the figure that was released from the stasis bank.
Ooh. Oh, Johnny is thrilled. He's edge of the seat, just staring like, yes, fight time. Let's see this.
I imagine that we're just like sitting on like the couch with the popcorn and just like slowly like eating pieces of popcorn and just like, oh, it's getting intense now.
Let's see how they handle this then.
I'm going to roll just to see which way they react first, and then this could go another couple of ways, because, yeah. Okay, well, that's a very high roll, so that's maybe not the most diplomatic reaction. I got a 15 and a 10. So you get the feeling their security officer is also feeling a little bit the stress, and he straight away pulls out a phaser to point at the figure.
Stop right there. Hands where I can see him.
The figure turns its masked face towards him, regarding him for just a second before raising its hands. As it does so, a staff weapon of some sort, metal, unfolds and assembles itself from the figure's gauntlets. Planting its feet, it performs a complex sort of flourish with the weapon, spinning it around in a dangerous-looking sort of figure-8 pattern in front of it, ending in an unmistakable combat stance. It's at this exact moment that the panels and lights begin to flicker back to life throughout the bridge. The con officer, eyes kind of darting around the room and settling on the armoured masked figure, calls to the security officer.
Try and keep him busy while I make the course corrections.
And they begin to work the controls. So yeah, let's do a roll. See how they get on. Well, that's a good roll for once. I got a 7 and a 10 for the con officer. So the ship's trajectory begins to turn as this figure steps towards the security officer, sort of ominously kind of like circling around, basically. Their face is covered. I should probably actually give like a full description. They're sort of covered in kind of plates of armor, which sort of looks sort of semi-organic, but they are metal. They're just like the styling in that, and they're a little bit kind of pockmarked, a little bit tarnished. It looks like a very old kind of suit of powered body armor. The face is covered with a helmet, with the only clean bit of the whole armor suit is the faceplate, which is completely reflective black. You can't see anything underneath the mask.
This is your final warning. Stay where you are.
The armoured figure, however, does not stop its slow advance towards Mitchell, who then, perhaps in an attempt to ward it off, aims and fires his phaser at the deck plating in front of his advancing assailant. Let's roll for that. I rolled a 20 again, and a 12. This team is not doing well.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so what was meant to be a warning shot, he fires his phaser into the leg of this figure to seemingly no effect.
Oh dear.
I think he's for it now.
Yeah, he's in big trouble.
Pardon my language, but I think he's just gone and buggered it up for his team.
So, stepping into range, the figure takes a swipe at Mitchell with its staff. Okay, I think that's actually a miss, with a 16 and a 15, so Mitchell manages to dodge away from this advancing figure. I think in the name of just kind of hitting highlights and things on this, I'm not going to run this whole combat, but with like kind of basing it off of those two roles as a sort of guide, I will just say then, so with the course corrected eventually by the con officer, between him and Mitchell, they do manage to finally subdue this attacking figure. Not before Mitchell takes a couple of knocks from the staff weapon. It doesn't go all his way, but with some sustained phaser fire from the two of them, they eventually manage to bring it down. But yeah, again, quite a lot of weapons fire and attacks and things going on with this team. Maybe not the smoothest of runs, you would say. But yeah, I mean, with their main mission completed, though, they do all eventually reconvene in the airlock area. And yeah, the holodeck fades away around them. They are greeted, like yourselves, by the hovering words, "Session complete." And that is the run of the USS Nelson's team, for better or worse. At this point, Captain Karata of the Auckland comes in through the door and sort of gives a nod to the senior staff, goes over to his team, who have been obviously watching from their other sofas. You can hear him sort of saying, "Oh, you know, all right, come on, guys, we're up last. Let's head off." Johnny, Katrina kind of catches your eye, and again got kind of that intense, like it's competition time sort of look on her faces, but gives you a sort of bit of a nod as she passes, and the team from the Auckland leaves the lounge. The screens have sort of switched back to playing highlights of what you've just seen, really, and over it you can hear the voice of the commentators again, a little louder than they were during the actual run itself.
Interesting run then from the Nelson team. Didn't have it all their own way by any means. What did you make of it, Odell?
Well, you hit the nail on the head there, Ted. I mean, they completed the task, but they were argumentative, combative. I don't think the judges will like it.
Disorganized and combative.
Ted.
There's always a Ted or a Bob or something, isn't there?
In the 24th century, there's a Ted.
Ted is eternal.
Why not?
Theodore.
I suppose.
Yeah. So yeah, at the moment, you were the only team in here.
Well, I have to say, I'm a little bit less worried after
watching that.
Aye, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm a bit more relaxed about how we did.
Absolutely. I think that, well, we'll just have to hope that the other team, well, I don't hope that they do badly, but, well, it'd be nice to shine bright, right?
Yeah, but you want others to do well, too. I mean, we're all in the same boat, so to speak.
I can't help but feel sorry for him. This is my 7th cider. And I just can't believe they did so badly.
I'm going to need a check from you, I think. You've had 7 cider. I mean, that was over the course of like an hour and a half. You've been just pounding them. Like,
yeah. But it's thematical because I'm a lot less bloodthirsty than I was earlier.
It's true. But
I'm happy to do a check.
Yeah, no, I'm going to need it, I think. Right? Fitness... how did we do it? We did, when Johnny, it was just a general fitness check, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fitness is 1.
Yeah, 11. You got 11.
Okay. Rolling.
Okay. 5 and a 1. That's a
critical
success. So you are handling this cider in a way... But you're handling your drink. But 7's a lot. But, you know, you're feeling the drink. But you're not feeling ill at all or anything.
No. But I'm feeling emotional that they buggered it so badly. There's no justice in the universe.
Oh, you'll be okay, dude.
I'm just gonna take the beer away from him. No more cider for you. Only coffee.
All right, that's probably a good idea.
I'm getting flashbacks to Murphy and Ray. Murphy taking Ray's drinks away. Shortly then, the crew from the Nelson, who you've just watched make their run, enter the lounge. Then, yeah, they seem a bit more, I think, subdued maybe than perhaps you guys were. I mean, you guys weren't really, like, you know, fully celebrating and whooping and hollering or anything. But, yeah, they're just kind of quietly talking to each other, sort of post-gaming it, I think. And, yeah, but putting a brave face on. I don't think it wasn't a disaster, but you sort of hear sort of snatches of the conversation where they're sort of saying, like, you know, hey, we did our best, we completed the mission, we'll see what happens. It is the kind of general vibe that you get off of them. But yeah, nevertheless, as they enter, there is a sort of supportive round of applause from everybody in here. I'm assuming you guys would join in with that as well, which, they accept sort of graciously before grabbing themselves some drinks and sort of sitting down, as I say, looking a little bit like they're taking it all in, sort of just processing what they just went through, I think. A few minutes pass, so not the biggest of gaps in between here, and the screens yet again switch away from the highlights and colour commentary to the feed from the inside of Holodeck 1, and you can see the team from the Auckland preparing themselves, just as you yourselves did, and you just watched the Nelson team prepare themselves. I mean, you didn't really make any attempt to talk to them while they were in here with you guys. So this the sort of feed that you're getting now is kind of the first sort of, I guess, kind of proper introduction you've gotten to the team. Johnny, obviously, your friend Katrina is there as the security officer. There is an Anar male, Ensign Soma, who is their medical officer. There is a Kelpian female, Ensign Lorela, who is their science officer. The team is then rounded out by 2 humans, a male, Ensign Schmidt, who is their engineer, and a female, Ensign DeLucci, who is their con officer. As I said, they're just kind of psyching themselves up. They seem a little bit calmer, I think, maybe than the Nelson team did. You would guess it's possible that, sort of like yourselves, they were a little bit buoyed up by the slightly poorer performance by the Nelson team, so that they maybe think, okay, we can do this, so that they're not looking too stressed out, but they are kind of, doing stretches and things, and yeah. Shortly then, their simulation starts. Fading in around them, they find themselves in what looks to be just a regular crew lounge aboard a starship. There's a slight air of apprehension you're picking up from the crews. They're kind of looking around. Theirs, of all 3 teams, has been the only one to appear in kind of a place where you wouldn't expect a mission to start. So they're sort of looking around.
This isn't what I was expecting. Maybe we have to throw a party.
That would be an interesting change of pace from the other scenarios.
Their conversation is rudely interrupted at this point by what looks and what must feel like to them a huge impact on the ship that they're on. They are almost thrown to the ground, and immediately the klaxons and warning for a red alert sounds, and red emergency lighting panels flicker to life. A few seconds pass, the team pick themselves up off the floor, or re-steady themselves, and then all the lights other than the emergency lighting go out. The sound of their ship's background hum fades away. Power has been cut.
Oh dear. Complete power failure. Well, I haven't seen that one so far.
Who turned out the lights?
That could be tricky.
They're not in total darkness. As I say, the emergency lighting is on, but their ship has clearly lost power.
Systems check. Cover your bases.
It's just as you say this, Faria, their engineering ensign pulls out a tricorder from his belt and heads for the wall panel.
I'll do a systems check, see what happened.
Now, Ensign Schmidt was already had this tricorder on him when it went into the simulation, so this team, you're getting the feeling they seem a little bit more prepared than the Nelson team did. It's possible, Johnny, that maybe you weren't the only one to say, hey, why don't we do like a dry run or something before the competition starts.
Going in prepared, always a good start.
Okay, I'm going to do a reason engineering check for their ensign to see if he can see what's happened, see if he can diagnose the problem. That's 2 successes, 9 out of 10. So yeah, he kind of pops open the wall panel, runs a small cable from his tricorder into it to sort of download a diagnostic. Something we haven't really seen in the show, but I'm choosing to add here as a thing he can do with the tricorder. He's taking a few seconds to do that when Katrina walks up.
Talk to me, Rob. What's happening?
It looks like the power's down throughout the ship. They did sound the red alert and felt like something hit us just before it happened, though. Maybe whatever that was caused the power outage?
They wouldn't sound the alert without good reason. Let's force this door open.
I'll roll it into that same successful engineering check that their engineering ensign is able to pop a release valve, and as a group, they're able to open the doors to the lounge and get out into the corridor. As they step out there, you and them are able to hear what sounds like distant sounds of weapon fire.
Sounds like they've been boarded.
It does sound like that, yes.
The ship's been boarded. We need to secure some weapons.
After getting her bearings, Katrina leads the way down the corridor to a small armory locker. They let themselves in and shut the door behind themselves, securing themselves some phasers while they're in there.
We need more information.
What are you thinking?
Well, now we're armed, we ought to maybe try and get to an operations console, see if we can reroute emergency power to the sensors, find out what's going on.
I don't know. Do you think that would work?
Why don't we just head to engineering and try to get main power back? What we can do will be pretty limited without it.
We need to get this situation contained before we do anything else. If we get power and sensors online first, whoever is taking the ship will have just as much control of those systems as we do.
Agreed. But how do we get around that problem?
I vote we get to the bridge. We can shut down access from there.
Makes sense, but how are we going to get onto the bridge?
There's a bit more discussion, but basically they're in a bit of a sort of three-way disagreement here as to how to proceed. So I'm going to roll 3 presence checks, and we're going to see which way they decide to go. I'll start with the engineer. I got a 4 and a 12 with him. This would be presence command, so he was aiming for 10 or under, so he got 1 success. The scientist is aiming for, again, presence command, aiming for 12 or under. I got a 13 or 15, so no successes. And Katrina is aiming for 13 or under. I got a natural 20 and a natural 1. So that's 2 successes, but a catastrophic failure. I think the way we're going to play this is, as she got 2 successes, they will go with Katrina. Now, that catastrophic failure, I think I'm going to hold on to, so it may come back to haunt them later on. I think that's the way we're going to play it. So, as a group, yeah, they agree to head to the bridge as their next destination. As this decision is made, in the viewing lounge, you just overhear Commander Carter sort of make a quiet comment. Ooh, don't think they're going to get much done with our power. So Carter was sort of agreeing with their engineer of like, yeah, you're not unless you can turn the ship systems on, you're not going to get shields up, you're not going to get easy access to everywhere, and you're not going to really be able to do much other than possibly fight hand to hand with stuff. And yet that's not the route that they've chosen here.
Johnny, turning to the others, just says, "It looks like my friend's taking charge out there. We're going to have to see if this works out for him."
How's engineering? Not much of a ship to save if it explodes.
I hope something does explode. Now I've started to sober up, my bloodlust has come back.
If I'm not careful, I'll kill you, I'll kill all of you.
Airlock blows out, airlock blows out. What are y'all looking at me like that for?
Good reason.
This is fun. Come on, get on board with it. Come on. Airlock blow out, airlock blow out.
Anyway.
A little bit of an extreme reaction.
Lula's just like, nope. Looks back at the screens.
Yeah, Johnny's a bit perplexed by the ups and downs of this drunken rambler. And,
I mean, we know you've been drinking a lot of cider. Has anybody else actually had anything alcoholic, or is this just like a case of you guys got off and you're like, okay, let's just watch the competition, and like one of you has gotten shit-faced and everybody else is just
like popcorn was as far as like Freya was gonna push it. Like yeah, that's like enough.
Popcorn laced with cider.
We're all just concerned. She's like looking at him really concerned about how much he's been drinking and this change of character, and is very, very confused.
Yeah.
Well, the crux of the matter is, the more he drinks, the more understanding and emotional he'll get, and then as he opens up, the bloodlust starts to come back a little bit. But it's only when there's like competition or like stakes going on. If he's involved in something like that, he takes it as serious as possible. And it's other people, he's like, yeah, I hope you break your leg,
Jesus.
I suspect that Commander Irila is sitting elsewhere in this largish room.
Yeah.
Occasionally, like, looking over, like, that's some really fluctuating emotions.
Yeah, you're starting to pick up worry from some of the other people there of, like... you're picking up Kataran's sort of thoughts of just, like, in you, like... I don't know, bloodlust is with this that sort of thing, but, like, you're starting to pick up the slightly kind of... a mixture, like, playful, aggressive, like, kind of, like... Yeah, go on, fail, bloodlust, throw out an airlock, and you can sort of hear him as well because he's drunk.
Primitive.
Yeah.
I believe it's what the Germans call Schadenfreude. Pleasure in the misfortune of others.
Murphy's just going to raise an eyebrow at Arila and be like, "Are you alright, Doctor?"
Yes, I'm fine, thank you. One of our ensigns has some rapidly changing emotions. It was a little distracting.
Yeah, I did notice one of them was drinking. And they're off duty now, so it's fine.
Drinks are fine. Like, you're allowed to have drinks. It's just, in the context, like, drinks were allowed, but only one of you had them and had a lot of them.
Yeah.
So,
she's like, drinking is fine and enjoying the rest of the time is fine.
Yeah.
But if he starts to become a nuisance, Murphy's going to be like, how long is it going to take Johnny to get involved, or is she going to have to involve herself?
I think plus at this point it's like 2 p.m.
Yeah. It's a little early.
Maybe a little later than that, but like not a lot, because I don't think I mean, you guys were a couple of hours, the other team was a couple of hours. So yeah, it's like mid-afternoon. And look, don't get me wrong, I like a good day buzz. Move out on a barbecue or whatever, and at a music festival or whatever. But yeah, I'm not judging. It's just kind of funny that it's just the one character's drinking. It's so yeah. I mean, really, you're kind of feeling the worry, like I said, and not worry or anything, but it's just like he's sort of in your kind of empathic sort of view of the room, I guess. He's sort of sticking out a little bit like a sore thumb.
Yeah. Almost everyone else is like completely engrossed in watching the screens.
Yeah. And I mean, I think Kataran is probably engrossed in watching the screens. His reaction to what's going on is quite strong.
It's not that the emotions themselves are concerning. It's just like cycling, and you are like mentally broadcasting rather loudly. However, this group is still feels much more cheerful than the second group who. Yeah,
they're feeling they're watching intently and are a little bit sort of a little sullen. I will say, this is a convenient point actually. So at this kind of talk about the maybe they should have gone to engineering, you get the feeling the other groupers maybe would have also have made that choice, because there's a little bit of chatter from the Nelson group, and really you do pick up a sort of like a feeling of like, okay, well, at least we're not the only ones who've maybe made a mistake during our thing, kind of thing. So so what follows for the next little bit of this run is that the team from the Auckland end up having to kind of crawl their way awkwardly through a long series of Jeffries tubes to try and get up to the bridge of their ship, and it's not a fun time for them. As it turns out they've got to make their way up through 4 separate decks of Jeffries tubes just to get up, because they didn't go down, turn the power on, the turbo lifts aren't working. So all they've got is these kind of access hatches and such to make their way up there, and nobody's really grumbling, but none of them look like they're having a good time, I will say.
Yeah. Maria's just like, I understand this pain. Spend a lot of time in Jeffries tubes, between junctions, in awkward places.
Tell me about it. I know all about that.
So they finally make it up to the deck below the bridge, and that is as far as this tube will take them. Katrina is about to kick out the hatch and get out into the corridor, but the scientist puts a hand on her shoulder and says,
I should scan first. We don't know what's out there.
And she pulls out her tricorder to take a reading. And I rolled, that's fairly decent, a 7 and a 3.
There's 3 life forms out there in the corridor. I can't identify them. Maybe they're using some kind of distortion field.
Good catch, Lorela. Okay, we go on 3. Lasers on stun. Everyone ready?
Ready.
Yeah.
Ready.
Ready.
She holds up 3 fingers and counts them down before popping the hatch open, and phasers drawn, the team quickly dive out into the corridor. Facing them are 3 humanoid figures, their features completely obscured by a kind of shimmering, dark energy field. It looks like the science officer was correct about them using some kind of distortion technology. It's not identical to, say, Jem'Hadar stealth shrouds, as they are visible consistently. As I said, the features are being hidden by these energy fields, so it might operate on a similar sort of principle. So, the team from the Auckland start firing. Katrina actually hits her target straight away. Maybe that shooting practice with Johnny the other day was came in handy. So her target goes down, the energy shield sort of collapsing around it. She was only firing on stun, but the life form on the ground, none of you recognise it at all. It's possible that the holodeck has just generated a random species here, something to sort of be attackers. They kind of look slightly reptilian, slightly scaly, a little bit monster of the week sort of thing, but they fit a pattern sort of thing, but nothing that any of you recognise, I would say. The other members of the squad also fire their phasers, taking out one of the others, but the third fires back, stunning the Anar medical officer to the ground before he's taken out by a second shot from Katrina. With the medical officer unconscious, this isn't obviously an ideal situation. Katrina kneels down to check on her unconscious comrade.
Soma. Lorela, see what you can do for him.
The science officer pulls the medical tricorder from Soma's pack and begins scanning him.
He's just been stunned, thankfully. Best give him a couple of minutes, Kat.
Okay, let's hold up here for now then. See if there's anything in his medkit that'll help.
So, a couple of minutes later, the medical officer comes around. He's not looking in the best of shape. He's looking a little rough.
Let's not do that again.
Agreed. You had us worried there for a minute.
I feel like I fell down a glacier. I might need to take a bit longer to breathe here.
We need to know what's going on the bridge. Rob, you stay here with Soma and Lorela. Keep an eye out for anyone else coming. Laura and I will sneak up and see what we can see. We don't want to walk into any traps.
Okay, Kat. We'll hold the fort here. Good luck, both of you.
I think at this point, he's actually stopped drinking anything and he's just fixated on the screen. Because at this point, he's just fascinated by the turn of events. He's no longer drinking the coffee. He's no longer wanting a cider. He's just like,
or maybe he should have the coffee.
Oh well, he's had this would be like his 5th one. He downs these drinks quickly.
Fair enough.
But he's not actually touching a drink at all. He's focused on what's happening, and he's actually intently taking note of everything now, not just hoping for calamity and injury.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm very glad that we got the scenario we did.
Yeah, I think we lucked out there.
Yeah, definitely a lot simpler than what these lot have had, and the ones before as well.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't quite as action-packed, ultimately. But we could have approached our situation differently.
We certainly could have, but when you think about it, we didn't have any real moments of bickering, we didn't have any cross-communications with each other. We just... we got our heads down and got on with it, didn't we?
We did, but that was us. That wasn't because we had a lucky scenario. That's because we got on with it.
We came up against a problem. We thought about it. We fixed it.
I know what it was.
What?
We got our disaster out of the way last night with training.
True.
Aye, that we did.
We had a test run.
A rehearsal to shake out the flaws.
So, if we do come first, I think we might owe it all to Johnny for suggesting a training session.
Aye, I'll drink to that. But not right now, though. I'm busy watching this.
Oh, thanks. I didn't really think it had worked out, but maybe you guys are right. And Johnny's very pleased by this. Well, I was having doubts about going out for those drinks later after watching you down all those ciders, but, well, Shimoda's, I can't wait until, well, let's just wait and see. We haven't won yet. They could turn this around somehow.
I will say, the vibe you're getting from the Auckland team is not that they're not working well together. It's more that, like, because when they were discussing which way to go, it wasn't like an argument. It was more like they all put their cases forward, and Katrina was maybe a little bit more, I don't want to say forceful, but a bit more kind of seemed to be taking charge a bit more. So it's less that like they're not working well together so much as they made the wrong choice in direction to go, maybe more than anything else. And now they've hit this speed bump of their medical officer being downed, and it's kind of put a bit of pause onto them. However, they do seem to have made the choice to make their medical officer as comfortable as possible for a second, and then just slightly stealth ahead and see what the state of things is on the bridge. So Katrina, being the security officer, is taking the lead on that. I'm going to roll on that now. That's an 8 and a 10. So yeah, she's able to, alongside Ensign DeLucci, just stealthily kind of make their way up to do a little bit of reconnaissance, and they're able to see that there are 6 more of these invaders on the bridge, and the main bridge crew of this ship have been stunned and are being kept prisoner on board the bridge. So yeah, the pair of them return to the group.
Well, it looks like they've fully taken control up there. All the entrances and exits are covered, and I'm not sure an assault is the best option at this point, not with the bridge crew there as hostages.
What other options have we got?
What if we get into the environmental systems? We could pump in some sort of knockout gas.
We have no way of knowing how anesthetizine would affect them, but it's an option. If you can get into the system, we can synthesize what we need.
Worth a shot.
So yeah, there's just kind of general agreement there to modify the plan at this point, now that it's sort of seeming that storming the bridge isn't going to be an option. So between the whole team, I think the consensus is reached that, trying to take out the invaders with anesthetizine gas through the environmental system is maybe a slightly better way to go on this. So basically, over the course of the next sort of 45 minutes to an hour of their run, they have to traverse the Jeffries tubes once more to get to where they need to get to put this into action. I'm going to make a roll now just to sort of see how they get on. I got a critical success there and a 12. So over the course of, as I say, the next 45 minutes to an hour, they make their way through the ship. They get into a couple more scrapes. Best to say, it doesn't, it's not a perfect plan from the outset, but they're able to get the environmental systems under their control. Ensign Soma is able to synthesize the correct formulation of anesthetizine, and they flood the bridge, knocking out the invaders and taking back their ship. And I think at that point we don't need to go into any further detail than that. We've had a good representative view of the Team Auckland's run there. So as I say, as they take back the bridge, their run comes to an end. Session complete. And a couple of minutes later, as the screens around you are all playing, at this point, highlights of both the Auckland's run and then the previous runs of the Nelson and yourselves on the Tenzing, Team Auckland enters the room. Again, another round of applause from everybody. I think the general feeling in the room is that a job well done, although not without its hiccups, it should be said.
Feels like they were a bit unlucky.
Yeah, it feels like because we had a test run, we were a bit more comfortable with each other, and these guys didn't have, or at least didn't seem to have a test run.
Bumbling around in the dark a little bit.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
They didn't have an icebreaker.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad we all came together.
Yeah, it was a good idea of yours, Johnny.
Yeah, it might have saved our bacon.
Or at least our reputations.
Yeah.
If nothing else, I'll take that as a win.
Word sort of filters through at this point that you've probably got about an hour to wait before the results are going to be announced.
Right, well, they say deliberations will be done in an hour, so if you'll all excuse me, I'm going to go find a quiet shuttlecraft to curl up in, have a nap, and I'll be back in, say, half hour.
Sounds good.
I mean, you can go back to your bunk if you want. I mean...
No, I imagine the shuttle bay's not that far from here, and I don't want to go wandering all over the place.
I mean, it's not that far, no, but I mean...
Patience. We sleep anywhere.
Whatever works for you.
Just the idea of this low-ranking Starfleet crew member curled up in a empty shuttlecraft having a nap.
I mean, here's an option I can give you.
Go on then.
You really want? You can just quickly book a small holodeck and make yourself a bedroom for an hour.
I could.
I mean,
I don't really want to take up anyone else's opportunity to use a holodeck. I'll just go and sleep in a shuttle somewhere.
Okay,
no big thing. I mean, have you sat on the seats in one of those shuttlecrafts? They're really, really, really nice. Quite comfy.
If you're set on finding a shuttlecraft, yeah, it's going to take you 10 minutes to get to a shuttle bay.
Yep. Half hour for a cat nap of sorts, and then 10 minutes to get back.
I just mean there's so many easier places to go have a nap if you wanted to.
I'm committed to this kind of
fair enough.
Ridiculousness, so I'm sticking with it.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah, there's a Kataran disappears off, presumably to go find a shuttle bay to sleep in. Yep. Oh no, a shuttle. In a shuttle bay.
In a shuttlecraft.
Yeah, you're not just going to go curl up on the floor of a shuttle bay, but
I'll sleep off the rest of this drinking. What's left of it, there's not much left, and then I'll come back and meet the others later to see you did well in the challenge in the Ensign games, and you'll all be good. Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Fair enough. I don't really know what to add to that. It's just that's just an interesting choice. Okay. We can skip forward if you want to the announcement of the winners, if you like. Over there's no other conversations you guys want to have at this point.
No, I think Johnny will just hang out with the others and have some more to drink, maybe a little bite to eat, chat.
I feel like we're just going to be kind of making conversation until we find out who won.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so some time passes. You're waiting the sort of around about an hour. Obviously, wherever the judges were sequestered, they were clearly taking their time, arguing the different points of view about who was going to be crowned the winner of this competition. After about an hour, as I said, the doors to the lounge open, and walking in is the station officer who assisted the admiral at the drawing of the lot at the start of the competition, who presses a button on the wall, a chime sounds, and sort of a bit of a hush falls as it gets everyone's attention. A decision has been made by our panel of judges, so if everybody would like to follow me to the holodeck for the presentation ceremony. He leads the way, and pretty much everyone assembled heads back to holodeck 1. As you step in, you can see that there is now a podium, more of like a stage set up with a podium on it, and several rows of chairs with various Sizes and varieties have been laid out for anybody who wishes to attend this ceremony. There are actually, a few other officers filtering in as you arrive as well, so it's going to be quite a few people in here, it looks like. Around the stage and the chairs and everything, the holodeck is actually showing what seems to be an exterior view of Deep Space 3. It's almost like it's placed this stage and chairs kind of on the top of the station, outside in space, sort of thing. Kind of like you're in like a sort of observation dome, but without the dome. It's quite striking. There's a bit of tension in the air. You've gotten the feeling that maybe it's between you guys and the Auckland, and there's definitely some looks kind of shot back and forth between the two teams. Not angry looks or anything like that, just kind of a sort of look about, is it going to be us, is it going to be you? The seats in here are quite quickly filled, and very shortly the Admiral takes the stage.
Well, what a day it has been. A huge round of applause for all of our competitors today, if you please.
The crowd erupts into applause at this.
It is such an honor to play host to so many fine ships, and indeed their crews. I trust all involved in today's event will look back fondly on them in the spirit of friendly competition with which they were envisioned, as you set forth together on this auspicious mission into the Bermuda cluster. Indeed, we hope that you may even feel a little more prepared to face whatever unknowns may await you. But there can only be one winning team today. Now, as was explained at the start of the competition, performance was to be judged on skill, teamwork, and commitment to the spirit of Starfleet. All of you performed admirably under these criteria, but after much deliberation, the judges have decided that the winners are the team from the USS... wait for it... Tenzing!
Oh my god!
You are all beckoned up onto the stage. As you go, you see Captain Collins, who's been joined by Commander Tallinn and the other senior staff members, other than Ray, obviously. And you head on up to the stage. The Admiral warmly shakes your hand. There's applause as you are all making your way up there. The Admiral, as I say, sort of warmly greets each of you, and before sort of continuing to the microphone,
you all displayed great judgment and skill. You faced your challenges without flinching, and yours is an example which I think we should all admire. Congratulations, Team Tenzing.
Here's a commemorative mug or something.
That's great.
I feel like, okay, maybe that was a joke, but maybe there is some kind of he presents, there's like a nice cut glass kind of, I don't know if you guys know sailing regattas or anything, but there is this commemorative sort of hey, the winner gets this kind of glass trophy thing.
Yeah.
They get a ship in a bottle.
Yeah. Yeah, but you guys are presented with it's not really a trophy, but it's a kind of hey, here's a
little memento.
Yeah, it's a memento, and well done. On that, you all find yourselves kind of mingling with the crowd again afterwards. You're all sort of shaking hands. A lot of people are waiting to kind of congratulate you for the job well done. And Johnny, you find yourself face to face with Ensign Sullivan, your friend Katrina.
Congratulations.
Oh, well, thanks. You didn't do too badly yourself. Sure you're not jealous, though?
No, really. You did really well. This is well deserved.
Alright, yeah. Okay, I'm just teasing you. But thanks. Seriously. Well, what are you up to now, though?
Oh, my team and I are probably gonna head to Shimoda's and drown our sorrows. I guess you'll be headed back to your ship?
I don't know about that. Shimoda sounds pretty good. I mean, I have mentioned this to the rest of the crew a couple of times that I was working with, so... Well, mind if I tag along? I mean, us? Not just me, obviously. I mean, got to take the whole winning team out. Competition's over, so it'd be good to get to know a few more of the expedition's ensigns.
Should probably invite the Nelson team, too.
Oh, 100%, absolutely.
I think the rule in this situation is that the winners buy the drinks, so we'll see you there.
Well, maybe just this one time. And he shoots at some finger guns and kind of heads off back to his team to sort of gather them up and get them ready for Shimoda's.
All right. Okay. So I think with that, then that's a good spot to call these Ensign games to a close. I hope you all had fun. Alright, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another episode of Frontier on Thursday, September 29th, and we hope you'll all join us for that. In the meantime, you can find links to all of our online presences at pretendingwithdice.com. So for now, that's our show. We hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.